See, for me, capacity is an ability to produce valuable accomplishments. And the capacity itself is a combination of many, many components, and it's different for different people. And for me, I look at it as a combination of some components. And then the first component is where you are. That will determine your capacity. How much is your bank balance? How much is your emotional bank balance? And how much is your balance in your knowledge bank? All this, where you are in your life, right? Second is who you are, which means that what is your promise to the world. So it's you are always making a promise to the world. Whether you are continuing to do your job, whatever you are doing, you are always making a promise to the world. Who you are, that promise will make a big difference. And then who you are with, which means that in your game of life, you have your set of team members. Who are those team members? And in the games of people surrounding you, you are a team member. And what are those teams? Are they significant enough? And the relevance of what you know in the current marketplace. So you have invested a lot of time, energy, money to learn the skills and technologies and everything, but how relevant are these in this marketplace? Suppose you were in Y2K and then you did some COBOL projects. Unfortunately, it is no longer relevant, right? In the new people, they may not even know what is COBOL. They may think it's some food or something like that. So you always have to have a lot of things to offer, but those things have to be relevant to the marketplace. So that's another one. How and from whom you are learning. It's very, very important. Your teachers make a huge difference in your life. And I feel really sorry if some people, they don't even think the teachers are required. So this year I'm thinking that first of all, today who your teachers are, they contribute or not contribute to your capacity. And by just making that switch, even if you have to pay money to seduce those teachers, you somehow make it happen, they can make a difference in life. And then how are you building those relationships? Your approach to building long-term relationships, that will make a huge difference in the capacity. Because if you go with a viewpoint that I want to get something, then it's one kind of approach. But if you go with a viewpoint that I want to give something, that's a different kind of approach. And just by making that switch, that whenever you walk into a room, you always think that whoever I meet, how can I increase the capacity of this person to do more? You are always thinking of giving, then it makes a huge difference. Then how are you spending your time? Like, what does your time get spent on? I mean, are you watching TV, listening to music? It's all good, but how is your day structured? So that is it increasing your capacity or decreasing your capacity? Is it increasing the capacity of people that matter to you or decreasing their capacity? Those kinds of things. Then what projects are you working on today? Yes. Yeah, if you think about it, like the conversation that we are having now, Steve, think about it. We could have started talking about how bad the economy is. Mm-hmm. I mean, how things are going bad, and it's a global phenomenon, and then job loss, and then we can say that company laid off 1,000 people, and I will say, Steve, you didn't know this? Even Microsoft is laying off people, and then we'll keep talking about it, but nothing will happen by talking on all those things. We forget that we live in our conversations. That's what we do. I mean, either we are having a conversation with somebody else, or we are having a conversation with ourselves about what conversation we will have with somebody else. So if that is the case, why not take them seriously? Because most of the conversations that we will have will be sort of useless. And if you look at the media, it makes it really worse.
Yes.
I was a journalist for 3 years before. And my mentor there, and then he used to look at the articles I write, and then the first 6 months of my job, he never published any of the articles. And he would tell me, and I would think that something is wrong, I have to do something. He told me that there was no drama in my articles. He said, hey, if there is no drama, why would anybody read? And I need to sell advertisements, and if nobody reads my papers, we can't sell advertisements and you won't have a job. Yes, basically Jim Rohn said it very nicely. He said every disciplined effort has multiple rewards, and I believe in that very much. Basically, if you ask either success or failure, it will look like it happened instantly, like an overnight success and those kinds of things. But there is never an overnight success. There has been a long string of mini successes along the way, and finally there is a big success. And if you remember the book, The Sun Also Rises, from Ernest Hemingway, and there is somebody asked Mike Campbell, how did you go bankrupt? And he says, gradually, then suddenly.
Gradually, then suddenly?
Yes, because that's the way it happens. And what happens in a recession is how somebody will deal with it, is how they have dealt with their life until the point of the recession and what they will do at recession. Like somebody has not built their personal brand over the last 5 years, they cannot build it tomorrow. Somebody has not built long-term relationships over the last 5 years, they cannot build it tomorrow. In fact, the shortcut is the biggest irony there is, because shortcuts always take longer, but it looks like it happens now. So for me, the discipline is first to remember that everything takes a long time. It's not slow. Everything takes a long time, and you just get used to it. If you want to build a long-term relationship, you cannot build it in the short term. It does not make sense, even literally. How can you build a long-term relationship in a short time? It just does not work. That is a big enough project, they need certain level of competence. Like this is a curated tribe, right? So all of you pass that test. You are all super smart people. So there is no question about it. Then comes Daniel Goleman, who says you need emotional quotient. You need to work well with people. That again is not a problem. But both of these are table stakes. That's an entry ticket to the game. So you can't play the game and win just with this intelligence quotient and emotional quotient. And what is missing is the practical generosity quotient. First, let me tell you what PGQ is not. So it's not philanthropy. It's not a giving for a cause. If it is not philanthropy, then what PGQ? Let's think about it. For any of your projects, be it a startup, be it some sort of an adventure, if you have an oversupply of good health, then the odds of succeeding becomes very high. How can you have an oversupply of good health? That's where we are getting. Practical generosity is a gift of capacity that you all can give to other people. And Awesomeness Fest, this kind of a get-together is a great way to practice it. As you will see, you will notice that. So PGQ, first we will get over with the definition, right? It is the capacity you added to the capacity that was needed to move the needle in a significant fashion. So what does that mean? If the capacity needed was 100 and you added 50% of that capacity, then your PGQ is 50%. There is a lot of help. It looks like you are giving help. You are pretending to give help. When you really give help, it will make a big difference. For example, I've written 14 books. My first book was published when I was 13 years old, so I've been writing for a very long time. In fact, I don't publish everything I write because then people will think this guy is jobless, he just keeps writing. Right? So I write every single day. Right? So if somebody comes and asks me, Raj, you have written 14 books and I'm planning to write a book, can you help me get started? And I say, like an intelligent man, I say, you know how I got started? I went to Amazon and then I searched for how to write a book. And I ordered it by the best rated books. And then I read 3 of them. I think you should do that. And that looks like help. That is useless help. Like good for nothing, right? So the PGQ there will be like 1 out of 100. My PGQ at that time will be 1 out of 100, like PGQ of 1. But in contrast, if I say, let me tell you what works, what does not work, what are all the mistakes that I did, and let me give you a proposal template, a book proposal template that is about 30 pages that has helped me a lot in reflecting what I want to write, how I want to write it, what is the competition, what is the chapter structure. And once you fill that out, let me introduce you to my book agent, graphic designers, copy editors, line editors, my whole network. And now I am talking about a PGQ of 60 or 70. So there is a difference between pretending to help and actually helping.
And how do you know? Because it's not quantitative. There is no measure, right? There is a measure, and I call it the PGQ test. It's like a litmus test. If you truly add significant value to someone, they will start missing you in their past. For that to happen, you have to learn something, how to tell no. Because, why? Because if you say no to wrong requests, you will have more time to say yes to the right request. And there is a simple process. How many people want to learn how to say no? Other people are very comfortable. So just make a note of all the people who didn't raise their hands. Ask them anything and everything. Ask for money, ask for their laptop, ask for everything, because this is our chance. This is the bonus part of Awesomeness Fest, right? So for those of you who need to know how to learn no, I didn't learn it. This is not made up by me. It's from a Harvard professor. I don't remember his name, but I love the whole concept. And it has 5 steps, and you have to follow this 5 steps to the T. It's very important that you follow them. I'll go through the steps very quickly with an example. So I say, first is to repeat the request. And I'll use an example. I'm an Indian. Somebody will come and say, hey, can you teach me how to cook Indian food? And I will say, you want me to teach how to cook Indian food? I'm repeating the request. And the next one is very important. You have to follow this. This is a very complicated word, and the word is no. So it's very important you say it exactly. And it should not come like you are practicing it while you are doing it. It's like, it should not say, you want me to teach how to cook Indian food? Step number 2, no. It should not look like that. You have to say, you want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No. It should flow like that, right? And then you have to state a reason, and it's a good reason. In my case, I can say I suck at it, right? And it has to flow again. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No, because I suck at it, right? And then provide an alternative, right, if possible. So I can look at here and say, Avi is there. But my friend Avi, he might be able to help you if you can make it good for him. So, right? So I say, you want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No, because I suck at it, but my friend Avi is here. He might be willing to help you there. And last part is really important. This is where you teach what is a good request for you. It is a guidance on what could be a better request. So I can say, but if you ever want to write a book, I'm happy to share how to go about doing one. Whatever be the question, they might be asking, can you walk my dog? Anything, but you have to bring back to the place where you have your strengths. You can say, I'll go over the sequence. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No, because I suck at it. Avi here might be able to help. But if you ever want to write a book, I would love to help you through the process. Does it make sense? Just remember that there are a lot of people who didn't raise their hands. Their laptops, their valuables, their notebooks, everything is up for grabs because they don't know how to say no. Worldviews about gratitude. And I will start off with a story that my friend Sally Hogshead shared. I think many of you know Sally Hogshead. She wrote, her latest book is called Fascinate, and it's a super fascinating book, by the way. So Sally shared this story with me. It was a gift that her dad, Dr. Howard Hogshead, had received. Here is the backstory. So one of Dr. Hogshead's patients, as you can guess by now, 30 years ago had fallen from a tree and was paralyzed waist down. And people said there is no way he will walk ever in his life, right? So, and then Dr. Hogshead, being an orthopedic surgeon, operated on him, fixed his back, and he is very happy living a full life, walking, of course, and running, walking, skiing, everything. And then every single year, on the day of the operation, he sends a gift to Dr. Hogshead, and with a beautifully written thank you note. And in this case, it was a box of pecans, which it says, "This is the 30th year, thanks." Now, he could have just, and it makes Dr. Hogshead's day, right? It'll just bring tears in his eyes. It's so much that Sally, who is Hogshead's daughter, she gets tears in her eyes whenever she sees such a packet. Now, what is the lesson in this? Like, he could have just given a big gift on the day of the operation and said, now, Dr. Hogshead, our account is settled. You are a doctor, you did your job, I am a patient, I paid for you, it's done. But the lesson, that big lesson to learn here is that life-changing gifts deserve a lifetime of gratitude. It's an important lesson to remember that some people in your life will come in and they are blessings in your life. And then they change your life, the trajectory of your life so much that you can't settle their accounts ever until you are alive. You are grateful to them. That's the biggest lesson from this story. Now, the 3Gs, I am always, because now there is 4G in the telecom world, but I always have a 3G advantage. Like, it starts with generosity. And then if you are very generous, it results in gratitude on the recipient of that generosity. When the person is grateful, it increases goodness, which means they first of all, they start feeling good about themselves, and then they start feeling good about the fact that there are generous people around them. And then they start becoming generous, leading to a cycle of goodness and leading to a cycle of peace, harmony, everything. Very important to understand your network dynamics. This is from a philosophy standpoint, this is a recipe for peace of mind. I'll tell you, when you see the network dynamic, you will see why. In every network, this is constant. At the bottom of the pyramid are free riders. Free riders are happy consumers without having to reciprocate. That means if you give help, they will take it, and it's like the short circuit robot, give me more kind of thing, right? And there will be lots and lots of them. So they will be happy to consume how much ever help you give, they will be happy to consume. If I ask you to make a list, you will say this will go beyond this session or beyond this today, right? And next is not ready people. That means they will consume help, but when you need them to reciprocate back, suddenly they become very busy. Like they have some emergency going on, they have to pick up someone from the airport, something, they will come up with it, right? So if the free riders are people who are asleep, not ready people are who are pretending to sleep, right? It's very important, it's very difficult to wake them up. Especially the first ones, you might, because they are ignorant, you might tell them, this is what you are doing, and they say, oh no, I never meant to do it. But the second people, it's very difficult to wake them up because they're not sleeping, they're just pretending to sleep, right? So the next one is ready people. The ready people are always available to help, but they're not proactive. They don't know, sometimes they think that they don't want to intrude, they don't want to assume that you need help, but if you ask them, they will say, of course I am willing to help. Sometimes they will rearrange their schedule and go out of the way, they walk the extra mile and to help, right? These are special people. But the best set of people are evangelists. And these are people, you will suddenly get a call from them out of the blue, and they will say, hey, you said you were going to write a book, are you in your chapter 3 or chapter 4? Right? And then if you say you are not even started, they will start questioning as if they are your mom or something. So they will say, you told me you will write it. It's already coming September, it's only 3 more months. That was your New Year resolution. You better get to it. And these are the people you will be afraid to tell your New Year goals and all those things. They will make, your concern will become their concern, right? They will almost feel that you have to complete that goal because you said it, that it's your New Year resolution. How can you break away from it, right? So evangelists are pure gold in your network. They are the most special people, and there are only a few of them. There will be a handful of them. If you think about it, people say your network is your power. So basically what they are talking about is the ready and the evangelists, not the free riders and the not ready people. They are people who are part of your network. They will add the numbers, that will be our LinkedIn connections and Twitter followers and all those things. But the special people are there. Does it make sense? Yeah. If you think about it, how do you increase the top 2 parts of the pyramid? There is only one way. It's by asking a soul-searching question, which is this. For how many people in your network, you are in the top of their network pyramid? Because if I say, go to all your network and label them, is he a free rider? Is he a not ready person? Is he a ready person? Is he an evangelist? It's a fun exercise actually. You will feel very happy to label someone as a free rider. Yeah, that one is a not ready person. I know he is a not ready person. But if you ask a soul searching question, for how many people you are in the top of the network pyramid, I will not be a popular speaker, right? So, but this is the case. This is the only metric that will increase the top two levels of your network pyramid. So listening is a big problem, biggest problem. The reason is everybody is always thinking what to say next rather than listening. So if you think about it, there are 4 things that you are doing while you are listening. So it's an acronym called JOIN. So the first J is judging or justifying. So as soon as any speaker walks into this podium, the first thing they will you might be thinking is that will this guy or girl be good at it? I don't know. I will listen 5 minutes and then I will decide whether to listen next or not, right? The first step is to know whether you want to invest a little bit more time. For that you have to judge, right? You have to judge whether the value is there or not. And it's not just for the speakers, it's just for all conversations. You just want to know whether it's worth your time. Or you are justifying because they ask you a question. Now you start thinking, how do I justify my previous response? Judging or justifying. Next, or this is the core message, which is opportunity for them. While they are talking, you start thinking, based on what they are saying, this is what matters most to them in their life. Maybe I have a connection, maybe I have a resource, maybe I need to tell them something. I start thinking about opportunity for them. Then this is the what's in it for me kind of thing, incentive for you. Based on what they are saying, maybe there's an opportunity for you. You start thinking, oh, he talked about that person, maybe I need to connect to him. Maybe I'll ask him for that referral, resource, networking, connection, all those things. And last one is neutral. Neutral is mind wandering. If you didn't have coffee and then you're feeling sleepy or you just lost interest or something, this is the neutral. So in a 1 hour talk, you may be doing different intervals. You may be in judging or thinking about opportunity for them, incentive for you, or neutral. But there is a band. You can set a band of how it works. So if you think about it, the choice is always yours. The band may look like something like this. 50% of the time you may be judging, just good, not good, good, not good. Maybe 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10, 4.5 out of 10. Your mind may be doing all the mathematical calculations. Small percentage you might think of opportunity for them. And another 50% you think, what's in it for me? I spent all the time, it's a Saturday afternoon, I better get some value out of this. You are thinking about you. And other 5% you just lost track of it. Just check your voicemails, emails, status messages, Facebook posts, and Twitter feeds, and all those things. That's where you are losing track of what is happening, right? So this could be this, but a more empowering one will be this, where you keep the judging incentive for you and wandering to the minimum, and you start thinking about this person is spending time, what's an opportunity for them? How can I be of value, right? That's where I come up with a listening quotient, which is a percentage of time you focused on opportunity for them in relation to the total conversation time. If the total conversation time was 100 and you thought about opportunity for them for 40% of the time, then LQ is 40.
Now, you come across as somebody who is a complete antithesis of a typical Silicon Valley entrepreneur, right? The Silicon Valley entrepreneurs are so hard pressed for time that they do not have the time or the bandwidth to be generous with others. I mean, you could be generous to a few, but how do you scale it? I mean, how do you find time to be generous is my question, and how do you scale that?
There is a lot of things that, because remember I studied linguistic philosophy,
Right.
which is your words create your worlds. The moment you say, I am busy, you just created a world where you are busy. The choice of words makes a huge, huge difference. Now that looks so theoretical. Let me go to the practical aspect of it. I have designed my own systems to make sure that I give enough amount of help and time and energy and mind share to people who truly deserve it. And then I have scalable systems to make sure that some people who are not ready for it, they get enough help, but they don't get the one-on-one time, because I won't have that one-on-one time. There's only 24 hours in a day.
Exactly.
How do I do it? Like, for example, I'll give an example. Because I'm an author, it's easy for many people to say, I would like to discuss a book idea with you.
Right.
Now, for that to happen, They want to book a meeting with coffee meeting, lunch meeting, dinner meeting. Now, how in the world do I know that they are serious or not?
Exactly.
Because they may be really, really serious, but they may not be really serious.
Right.
They may just want to have dinner with someone and then say, okay, we had a good conversation. 5 years from now, they still are thinking of writing a book. They never will want to write a book. They never had the intention to write a book. But they want to feel good that they're talking about it. So those people, I have a simple, again, I coined a term called the welcome hurdle. It's they're welcome into my life, but I set up a super small hurdle just to see whether they're committed to cross that hurdle and still have the commitment to do something about it. For example, the same example of somebody wanting to write a book, I'll say, okay, that will be great. I would love to meet. I have a book proposal template. I want to send it to you. It's in about 19 pages. It will make you think about all the things about your new book. Why don't you fill this up and send it to me so that when we meet, we can have a really amazing conversation because I would have thought through everything. You can guess what happens then.
That's the filter.
99 out of 100 people, I never hear back from them. Because they were never serious in the first place. But Ravi, what should I do with someone who actually fills that 19-page document?
Right.
It is my duty and responsibility to carve out some time. If somebody is taking that much time, I know they are very, very serious about it. Because I have one term, Ravi, it's called the moods. The moods play a significant role, way more important than what people attribute the value and power to it. I have two moods that I am very working on to mastering. The first mood is called the mood of acceptance, and the second mood is called the mood of wonder. So there is a statement that I always keep very close to my table. It's called "I am here, full stop. Where next? Question mark. I am here is a mood of acceptance. That means whatever be the case, however we got here, we are having this interview. I 100% know that I am here and I have to accept it. I don't have to know why I came here, whatever it is. I have to, with due respect, I have to agree that I am here and I'm fully here. And then where next is a mood of wonder, because it can be any possibilities that can happen with this conversation, isn't it? So when you master the two moods, amazing things will happen. When you don't master the two moods, what happens? I am here. If I don't accept it, it's not like I have a choice that I will be somewhere else because if I don't accept it, I am here. The real truth will not change because you don't like it.
Right.
And if you don't accept it, you start thinking, why did I come here? What was the reason? Did I come to this? Is it the right thing to do? So a lot of noise. So that noise will go away.
Okay.
Where next, the mood of wonder is where the merchant of possibilities will get activated. Because if you are fully present and you are fully open to new possibilities, how cool would that be? Because it's like a kid in a candy store. You are in a Disneyland kind of setting. You don't know, everything is super exciting.